What's up, gang? Case here with our CrossFit Metcon for Saturday, February 20th. This is a retest of the open workout 20.1, which is 10 rounds for time of 8 ground to overhead, 95 pounds for men, 65 for women, and then 10. The open workout was bar facing burpees, but in the gym, we're going to be doing lateral burpees just because we don't have quite enough room to do that full bar facing. So let's go over that ground to overhead to start. Since it is ground to overhead, it can be a power clean and jerk, power clean and push press. It can be a snatch, which just has to get from the ground all the way to locked out overhead. If we're going power clean and jerk, up to the shoulder, then we don't have to stand all the way up. The most efficient path is going to be catching in that power position and then trying to throw right from that power position to overhead. I suggest still dropping under it. That way you're not having to use as much power to get to the top, because there are so many reps today. You want to be as efficient as you can on every rep. Other option would be to go for a power snatch. So wider grip, one motion all the way overhead. Whichever version you decide to do, first thing, keep your shoulders safe. Second, this should be a light weight. So it should be a weight that you could do 8 to 10 times tap and go if you had to, but they don't have to be unbroken in the workout, or I wouldn't recommend doing them unbroken in the workout. I'd recommend splitting these up into 4 and 4. That way you get a little bit of rest. You can conserve some energy over time. And if you have to break up your round of 8 into more than 3 sets on this ground to overhead, then I would recommend going lighter. One more tip on those: keep that barbell as close to you as you can. As we move fast, as we get fatigued, the bar tends to move in and out a little bit more. Every inch away from you that bar gets, you have to use quite a bit more energy to get that bar up overhead. The closer you can keep it to the center of gravity, the more you can use your legs to drive that bar up, the more energy you're going to save. Actually, 2 tips. So last tip is breathing. On these fast Olympic lifts, we tend to hold our breath at certain points. People get down in the bottom, they might hold all the way up to the shoulder and then rebreathe, and then hold again as they pop overhead. Try not to hold your breath at any point today. This should be a light enough weight to where you can still breathe and stay braced enough to move this load. So think constantly in, constantly out on that breathing. That's going to apply on our second movement today, that burpee. We do want this to be a 2-foot takeoff, 2-foot landing on the jump in order for it to be prescribed. But if you can't do that jump, remember, a scale we can do is always just stepping over. And then if you're having any low back issues, don't forget about utilizing that up down, where we just hit that plank position instead. It takes a little more pressure off of the low back. Pacing today, or tackling this WOD mentally. It's 10 rounds. It's a lot. It's high rep. It's one that is going to hurt. So technique should be good. Don't put yourself at risk of injury, but just as far as a intensity, a burn standpoint, this is one that it's going to start to hurt early on, and then you've got to be able to withstand that throughout those 10 rounds. So I like to break it into the first 5 rounds. That's where I try to pace and breathe a little bit more. From rounds 5 to 7, that's really like the pit of despair. There's a ton of work still left, and it just feels like you're never going to get there. So once I hit round 5, or once I finish round 5, my next goal is just round 6 and 7. Whatever I do, all I'm going to focus on is round 6 and round 7. I know once I can get through that 7th round that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can always get the mental fortitude up to tackle those last 3 rounds. So split this workout up into smaller sections mentally. One more thing on the burpees: don't break those burpees up today. Be sure to just set a breathing pace on those burpees, something that you can move consistently on for those 10 reps every time. Time cap on this one's 15 minutes, so pretty aggressive cap. So you do have to push all the way through if you want to get this workout done. Good luck on today's Metcon, and we'll see you back next week for our build week.